Hello, guys, Dividend Enjoyer, and today I kind of want to talk about why I think we're going to continue to go up and what I think is going to be a good buy in the future, and kind of some telltale signs of why I think we're in like a perpetual long term bull market is really what it's looking like with tech, and why I think that we could definitely hit all time highs at some time in the future. Um, if you look at like Amazon, for instance, so ticker symbol AMZN, you can see that it is about, I want to say 12% off its all time high, 13%. Its all time high is 242.52 and it closed at 205.59. So that tells me that there's a lot of room for growth in Amazon stock. I mean, it could really jump like over $30. And that would be the all-time high. So if it were to jump by that much and then continue to go, I think I would make over $500 just off of what I have in and like $2,000 in, I think. So obviously I think that that's going to really happen across tech. I think we're going to end up hitting all-time highs again. And it's going to continue to get more expensive because I think if we have as much downside as we have, I think we have as much upside and maybe more, because I think that these companies are making more money and I think that people still want to own them. I mean, they've made a lot of people rich before, and I think the rest of the crowd is really going to shift into buying more tech stocks. And don't make the mistake of not wanting to put a little bit more in if you don't have any exposure in right now. I definitely don't think you're buying at the top. I think it's safer to buy now than to buy when I was telling people I was buying, just because I was down at 1.2 grand and it could have continued to drop and I would have kept buying, but it started coming back up. And now I'm up over $1,000 with everything realized and dividends and just everything overall in my current account year to date. So I think it's still a good time to buy into tech stocks. I'm not really selling anything. The only thing I've sold all year was a share of Meta that I bought for $484 and sold for $650. I was able to flip and throw $350 more in and buy $1,000 worth of Hasbro. But that's the only thing I've sold, and I really didn't even take profits there. I'm collecting a pretty big dividend off of Energy Transfer too. And I think that tech stocks are going to be really interesting prospects too, because the dividend compound annual growth rate is a lot higher. So your dividend's going to grow as a percentage a lot faster with some of these tech names than you're going to get with some of the higher starting out dividend stocks. So I think that's another factor that'll be good if you want to own tech just overall. But I really think people that are afraid to buy in or who are selling out now are going to miss out on the really big gains. I think we're going to have a lot higher of gains, and I think that there's definitely that side market of people that are wanting to buy in and don't want this opportunity to get away from them. Like, I think if we saw all tech start to rise more and more people are going to want to enter. There's going to be a fear of missing out, and I think we're going to hit all-time highs. As long as we continue to have strong earnings and these companies keep also buying back shares, I think that we're in a really good spot to make a lot of money. Just that's where I'm going to be, because I'm all in on tech. I have a ton of tech. I don't want anything else but my tech stocks, just personally. I think that they're still really cheap. I still think they're the cheapest thing that we have available to us right now. And I think that there's going to be a really big jump in this sector for the next, I think, near term. I think it's just going to start to grow again. I don't really want to call the market necessarily on it, because I don't know when this could happen, but I do think that it's very likely that at some point we're going to hit new all-time highs on Amazon, on Salesforce, on pretty much every stock in my portfolio. I think it's going to get to a new all-time high. I don't think it's going to be the last time it gets to that level ever. And I think we're going to continue to have growth in tech. I think it's going to continue to become more valuable. And I think the market's there of people who, once they see it go down even a little bit, they want more of it. And I think that that's going to keep kind of the support there so that this thing really doesn't have a bottom. Like the bottom is right there and they're saying, I'll buy a few of these. And once the price comes down, people are just buying. So there's a lot of support there. I think it's very stable and just needs the right thing to induce a lot of fear of missing out, a lot of demand on the buy side, a lot of momentum going up. And I really think that the catalysts are all there to make it a lot more expensive to get into tech in the medium term. I think that after a couple of months, tech is really going to jump. And I think you're going to be very mad at yourself if you didn't get into tech within this year. I think that after this year, it's going to be maybe a little too high for my liking to want to get in. But I think that right now it's looking pretty good and on sale. A lot of these companies like Salesforce, Amazon, American Express, I think that they're all really gone on sale. I think Meta to an extent, but I think it's come back pretty hard. I actually sold a little bit of it, like I said, though. But I really think that Amazon is vastly undervalued for relative to where I think it can go and what I think personally it should be worth. So I still think it's a good deal. I think Salesforce is still a pretty good deal. I'm still negative on that, so I think it definitely could go more in the positive direction because I've seen it go the negative direction. I think it could come back, and I'd been buying when it was low. So I think I'm going to see Salesforce break new all-time highs, and I'm going to be really up. But I think it's going to keep going, and that's going to be the challenge for me, is not selling out once I'm up a lot. I think that's going to be because historically that's been the hardest thing for me, because I want to take profits, but I really think that I need to sit back and just kind of let my investment do its thing, because I could have made a lot more money in a lot more circumstances if I would have just done that and held out for the long term, like really waited 10 years. So that might be what I do. But I can't imagine a world in which Amazon is weaker in 10 years. I just don't think it's very likely. Same thing with Salesforce. Same thing with, Vici. I don't understand a world where Vici somehow manages to lose money. It seems very, very close to guaranteed. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor, but it just seems like very strong. I think that this market really has a lot of potential buyers, though. And I think that tech is going to be a sector that just rallies with everything. I think you're going to see the S&P go kind of crazy. I think it's going to be, honestly, a good bull market. I think that eventually the Fed's going to lower rates. It's going to help a lot of different things. And overall, I think that if you ignore kind of all of the fear and you think about it rationally, tech stocks are probably still going to be worth a lot of money. I think that this is just like a momentary little blip, and they're going to be going up again because they've been going up like crazy before. I think we're going to see a lot of confidence in the markets in like maybe a couple of years. I don't know. But I really think that we're going to hit more likely a bull market in the near term. Just from kind of the signals I've been seeing, looking out for, it just feels like there's a lot of people willing to buy tech right now if they can get their hands on it for cheap. So it doesn't really get cheap because there's a lot of people just saying, well, I'll just buy it right here then, right? Because they don't want it to get away from them. And the higher it goes, the more people are going to want to buy, which is kind of an oxymoron because it's the worst time to buy. But they're going to be thinking, I'm going to miss it. I'm going to miss it. So I think right now, before it really goes crazy, would be a good time if you don't have any exposure. If you do have exposure, I think personally what I'm going to do, and I'm not making a recommendation for you in any way, I'm just going to let it go because I think it's going to continue to grow and make more money. And I think that's the right financial move, is to just be patient and just wait and watch and hold on to it. Because I think if things go really crazy, they could be worth a lot of money. But yeah, I'm really excited for the future, especially for my tech stocks. I'm interested to see what Hasbro does. I really think it's undervalued for what it is. I know I've kind of been yapping for a little while, but I really think that I need to make a couple of videos where I really talk about the fact that if you don't have exposure to this tech market, I think that it would be smart. I'm buying. I think that there's too much fear right now, and I think that you need some kind of exposure, just because it seems like it's going to be more and more expensive over time because more people are kind of entering in. And I kind of have that feeling that there's a chance that something could really take off. It could go lower, and in that case you want to add more, but it really doesn't feel like you're buying at the top for sure. And I think there's a lot of good opportunities out there, but I don't want people to think that because tech stocks are so much more expensive than they were a month or two ago, that we're at the top, because it doesn't feel like the top to me. It feels like we could still hit new all-time highs and keep going from that, because it doesn't feel like investors are really fully confident that these tech companies are going to do well and continue to beat. So I think it's kind of a time thing, you know. It just has to get to a point where people are confident again that these tech companies can make money. I think that's where like Apple's going to get exposed more than Microsoft or Amazon, because I feel like Apple really hasn't been very smart about finding new ways to grow. I think it's too mature. But I think the stocks I have are going to shine in the long term, and I think that I could make a safe bet putting my money in them and really just kind of enjoy watching it go. So yeah, these are some random ramblings about why I think that the bull market is going to continue, why I think we're going to see things get more expensive, and just overall why I'm going to be holding my tech, and why I think that for me the most difficult thing is not selling out when I see that green number, that wonderful profits that are right there to be taken. I think I really need to hold out longer and wait for things to grow more, because I'll sometimes take the money too soon when it's up, and I miss out on some of the best years, and it's just a huge mistake. So I think being smart about that and just wanting to add more when it's a great business, I think that's really one thing that I need to do if I'm going to be a long-term investor, is learning to tolerate that you're not really going to get the same price for shares after a certain point, but it's okay because they're going to continue to be worth more. So you want to add more, you know, and I think living with that is going to be something I'm going to have to do. And if they go lower, you want to buy more, right? Because you want to get the opportunity to buy at that lower price. But yeah, so buying in here, you're getting a lower price. I think that we're going to continue to see a big bull market, and I'm interested to hear what trades you guys are going to make, because I think that tech is a good trade, and I think that you're going to make a lot of money if you buy and hold tech through this whole market and through the next couple of years. But this serves as kind of like a diary for me to look back and see what was happening and what was going through my mind. Eventually I want to do like a live stream. That's kind of why this is a little bit unstructured and maybe not as rigid as the portfolio analysis ones, because it's a lot of me just thinking about things and kind of talking to myself. It's kind of weird. But eventually I want to get to the point where I can do like a stream and kind of have some topics that I'm thinking of, because I've really been hung up on this just idea that we're going to have probably a bull market in tech, and how awesome that's going to be for my own personal portfolio, because at the bottom, and I think even now, because nobody wants to get into tech because they feel like it's come up so much and it's so risky, I think that's why it's such a good idea to buy tech, because these are the most stable companies that there are in terms of earnings, in terms of like performance in the past. I think that these are like A triple plus level stocks that are just amazing businesses that you're going to want to own, because I think that they have to be worth more in the future. I think that the growth is just definitely there, and I think that there are buyers, they just are being cautious right now and they feel like they're paying too much. There's enough of them that every time it drops even a little bit, they're buying. So I think that we're going to see tech stocks continue to grow. I think if there's any big burst, it's just going to get crazy momentum of everyone just FOMOing in. And I think that this thing could just run away from us. And it might be a good time to just load more in. And yeah, hopefully we can continue to get these prices, because they're pretty fair. But they're historically, lower than what we would normally see in tech stocks in terms of multiples. Like in the past, you'd have higher PE multiples, and you'd have less percentage of expected growth and things like that. I mean, I don't know, just feels like, yes, expectations are high for them, but I think that tech stocks will meet it and continue to grow, and I think that AI is going to be a big thing. I don't know necessarily exactly how yet, but I think that we're going to see the value of our tech stocks really greatly increase, and I think our productivity is going to increase as well. Those are just kind of my thoughts at this moment in history. May 18th, 2025, but those are just some of my opinions, I guess. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section down below. Any comments are appreciated. Thank you for letting me ramble about the potential bull market. Have a great day. Bye.